Let's recap quickly. What do we need for the conflict situation? How do we understand it? The first, of course, is the issue that leads to the conflict. So we need to know the facts. Present situation and problems. Those are the facts. We need to get our facts right. If our facts are wrong, nothing hereafter is going to work out. The goals. What are we here trying to do? The goal is, yes, to resolve conflict. The goal is to negotiate. The goal is to address the issue so that there is a mutually agreeable solution, a win-win solution. What methods are we going to use? How are we going to do it? The methods are critically important also. And the methods will come from the different styles that people bring to resolving a conflict. The values. What values do different people bring? Every individual at the conflict resolution table does not have the same values, does not have the same principles. So with differing values and principles, how do we come to a common understanding? The history. What has happened before in similar situations? What has happened before with the same individuals involved? Is there a history over here, or is this a first-time case? Knowing and understanding these pieces in a conflict situation helps to address and resolve the conflict. Components of a conflict situation. Frustration when you feel blocked, when you think progress is not being made, or when you see that progress is not fast-paced, is not moving ahead as you would like, one would get frustrated. Conceptualization of the problem. What's going on? Why is this problem here to begin with? What went wrong? How did this actually begin and take the shape of a conflict? Could it have been handled earlier on? Conceptualization of behaviors and intentions. What does that mean? Especially when different parties say different things based on their perspectives, you want to clarify the conceptions. Outcome. Emotional, cognitive, behavioral. What are the outcomes? The outcomes of a conflict affects emotions and feelings, affects cognition and thinking, affects behavior and actions. Are we ready to address all three of these at the conflict resolution table? In a conflict situation, what can we do? How do we intervene? How do we step in and try help the two parties resolve the conflict? Accept that you will have a conflict. Accept that unless we resolve this, the conflict is going to stay. Productivity will be hampered. Work towards having positive versus dysfunctional conflict. As we said earlier in this unit, conflict can be positive and negative, can be functional and dysfunctional. Both at times will be present. And so how do you deal with functional conflict and how do you deal with dysfunctional conflict? Use conflict management skills. De-escalation, I messages, we've talked about these earlier in this unit. Work around these skills, develop these skills, and use these skills in the conflict management process. Indicators of escalation. How do you know that a conflict is getting worse? Competition. Competition makes a conflict worse. When the parties involved compete against one another, solution is not easy. Righteousness. When I believe I'm so holy and good, there's nothing wrong with me, the wrong is all with the other side. Not listening. I'm hearing, I'm not listening, I'm not paying attention because my mindset is already made. Spreading to new is dealing in personalities. Spreading to new. What new things are we looking for? Looking at a conflict and looking at the new dimensions, the new angles that the conflict could bring into the conflict resolution process. And of course, the fact that you have to deal with different personalities. Human beings are all different. No two human beings are the same. And so the more people you have, the more personalities you have to deal with. Threats. If one party threatens the other, conflict will get worse. Threats don't work. Intentional hurt. If intentionally I'm rude, I'm making sarcastic comments, I'm not being very kind to you, conflict will get out of hand. Violating social rules. There are social rules, cultural norms of working in a group. If you violate those, conflicts will get out of control too. And suing individuals. If you don't do this, I will sue you. I will take you to court. I will do this. I will do that. And when you again do those kinds of things, conflict cannot be resolved easily. Listening. This is indicators of de-escalation. How do you know that the conflict is actually improving, getting behind? Listening, active listening. Trying to understand. You understand the people from their perspectives. Showing tact. You don't just say something, you say even a negative thing in a positive way. After all, there is a politically correct way of even saying no. Concern for others' feelings. You make sure that you don't hurt the feelings and emotions of the other people at the table. Goodwill gestures. Please, thank you, I understand, I appreciate your comment. Just goodwill gestures are worth it. Appeals to de-escalate. Why are we here? To resolve the conflict. Constantly reminding people, we are here to resolve, de-escalate the conflict. We are not here to make it worse. Airing feelings. You feel differently? Let us know. We'll see how we can work around the different feelings and emotions. Finding alternatives. If this doesn't work, what else can we do? If this doesn't work, that's not the end. We have to continue looking at plausible alternatives. Build good relationships before conflict occurs. This is management of conflict. You know something is going wrong, build the relationships before things get out of control. Do not let small problems escalate. Deal with them as they arise. As they say, nip something in the bud. Don't let it get out of control. If you see something going wrong, attend to it right then. Respect differences. People will not be the same. There will be differences. There'll be differences of opinions, suggestions, recommendations, behaviors, attitudes, values, principles. You need to work with those differences. Listen to others' perspective on the conflict situation. Listen. Keep your mouth shut. Listen to what somebody else has to say. Get another perspective. Get better understanding for yourself of the context that led to the conflict. Acknowledge feelings before focusing on facts. Yes, I understand that we are all frustrated with this, but this is a reality, and that's why we are all gathered here. Address the feelings, the emotions first. Focus on solving problems, not changing people. The conflict is not the person. The conflict is the issue, the situation. That's what you want to talk about, not individuals. If you can't resolve the problem, turn to someone who can help. As a human being, you can't do everything. And if you are not successful at resolving this conflict, ask for help. Get help from somewhere else. Remember to adapt your style to the situation and persons involved. We all have 5 styles. Yes, we have one predominant style. So adapt. Change your style depending on the situation and the persons involved. And it is absolutely critical today for our young children, for our students in our care and custody to learn about peace, why peace studies are important, what peace studies can contribute to in their lives, what role conflict plays in peace studies, why conflicts arise, how conflicts can be managed, how conflicts can be resolved. This has been the crux of this second unit in this course on contemporary issues and trends in education.